everyone, it's Sheena. We are at the end of April, and if you don't know, April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month as well as Child Abuse Prevention Month. On my website, I have spent almost every day highlighting a different type of topic regarding this issue as a whole, as well as interviewing other survivors. It's been quite an interesting month. It's actually a little after 10 p.m. in New York City, and I just returned home, my new apartment, which I'll share with you later, but I just returned home from Lehman College, which is located in the Bronx of New York City. I was, well, a little backstory. I am a member of RAIN's Speakers Bureau. RAIN stands for Rape, Abuse, Incest National Network. And through them I get different opportunities to share my story with the media, with support groups, with colleges or whatever. And that's how I found out about Lehman College's program, which was Take Back the Night, spearheaded by their counseling center, but really done by the students. You'll see footage of my time there, but I was one of the keynote speakers along with two other gentlemen, and I got to speak for a little while. I shared one of my YouTube videos, and I shared a bit of my story focusing on the healing process of abuse, as well as just what it was like dealing with the abuse after it happened, years later, when you get all the aftershocks and after effects and whatnot. So I shared that story, and then there was also a few plays that was done.
Get your ass up! I said, get your ass up! Don't you ever put your fucking hands. She called the police.
Yeah, you said I got a fucking work in the morning.
Damn it!
I
just want to help. Don't you ever tell me no. I'm a man.
The only person that you got. You don't got no family, no friends. You better stop being stupid. Stop! All the lies, the arguments, the fight, stop!
The step team performed. There was a walk around campus where stories were shared.
Ad yesterday screamed for help as she was dragged down the street by her estranged husband outside Medgar Evers College, but no one came to her rescue.
Prosecutor says rape cases are hard to prove. Jaws drop in living rooms across the city. Commuters reading newspapers and getting their news on smartphones shake their heads in disgust. How did he get away with it? What was the jury thinking?
The city cop charged with raping a Bronx school teacher at gunpoint was convicted of predatory sexual assault Tuesday, and a trial thrown into chaos by revelation that one juror is powerless.
There was a candlelight vigil. Other people had a chance to share whatever they wanted to as well. There were anonymous letters and poetry read. It was an incredible and powerful event, actually. And now I'm trying not to, now that this is the first moment I've had to just be calm, and the emotions are kind of going over me. But I'm glad I had the opportunity to do it, to share my story before an audience. The feedback was really good, and the Channel 12 News was there interviewing people. And so because I was one of the only keynote speakers there early, I got to be interviewed for that as well. And then she actually stayed for the entire evening. So one of the fun pieces of feedback that I got, it was from the lady who was the anchor or news reporter for Channel 12 News. She came up to me and she was like, "Thank you for speaking." She said, "You were funny." And I just looked at her and she said, "I was not expecting that, and it's such a heavy subject matter." I was like, "Is it okay for me to laugh?" And that was intentional. It is a heavy subject matter, but I had just little things here or there in my discussion that kind of lightened the mood a little bit. I cracked jokes about homeschoolers and cults because I was raised in one, and I was homeschooled, and there's just little things like that. I also heard from other people that they like that I emphasize, I talk a lot about surviving versus thriving, and how once you're the victim, then you get to survivor, then you get to being a thriver. And I mentioned how, there used to be a time where just me breathing, I felt like it was like, hey, I'm breathing, give me credit for that. But then you get to a point in your life where you have to do more than breathe. You want to live and thrive. And one lady just said that really spoke to her. It was so interesting getting, after we spoke, we had a Q&A where people could ask us questions. Oh, and their questions. One lady asked, how do you know if it's abuse? Or like, how do you give hope to children who don't have a support system and they're in an abusive home? Oh my God. There was even a part, they were playing a video that the student government did, and when this was happening, so it was dark, one girl came over to me and whispered, and she said, I had a question too. She said, what about, oh my goodness. She said, what about when you're being abused by a family member, and if you tell the rest of the family, it's going to rip it all apart? Like, what do you do? What advice do you have? Another girl asked me about the healing process and like how she felt like she'd forgiven and she'd healed, but then just the other day she just had such a bad day and she felt like she was moving backwards. And how do I deal with stuff like that? And it's really helpful. I spend, whenever it's Sexual Assault Awareness Month, that month I write a lot of posts about different topics like flashbacks are not flash forwards, what to do when the monsters invade your dreams, how to rescue victims, the conflicting nature of good touch, bad touch, why I lied to DCFS, the significance of Denim Day. I have all these, not ready to make nice, and so I talked to her about that, but it's just, there were so many people there who have stories like mine, and we're all at different levels with our healing or with our acknowledgement, and it just, in speaking today, I realized I have to keep speaking. I have to keep making videos, I have to keep blogging and tweeting and Facebooking, and I need to keep volunteering and speaking at events like these. Because of one person just felt a little bit better, felt like there was some hope, or that they weren't damaged, or it's worth it. I say the things I wish someone had said to me in a real and truthful and raw and in-your-face kind of way, and I think they appreciated it. I was on the train. It was only like 30 minutes after, and I'd already gotten a Facebook message. Because you know what, one of the things I did in the speech, I emphasized a lot about how social media has played a role in my healing process. It started with blogging, but then even through Twitter and YouTube and Facebook and other methods that really helped with my healing process. And I showed examples of these things, but it was funny because I had just gotten on the train after the event ended, and I already had 2 Facebook messages from people who were in the audience. And I like that. I like the power of social media and what it could do. I just remembered another question that one lady asked, and it's what I'll close with. She said to ask all 3 of the speakers, if I didn't know your story, if I didn't know you were abused or were a victim of domestic violence or whatever it may be for you, what would you want me to know about you? And I thought that was an interesting question. And I told her, and I guess this goes towards like the legacy you want to leave behind, or the first impression you give people. And I told her that 2 of my values are empowerment and expression. My cause, what I just hold dear to my heart, is children. I felt like as a child, I didn't know the power of my voice. I didn't know that my opinion mattered. I didn't know how to use my voice. And so as an adult, I want kids, but I also want every person to feel empowered and to express what's inside of them. And I would hope that after you've watched one of my videos, or after you've read a tweet of mine, or we tweeted each other, or if you've read a blog post, or saw a status update, or met me in person, I would hope that you walked away feeling inspired to just express yourself, whether it was a recipe I did, now you're going to do one or do something else, or because of my dance classes. Like, I love when I get emails from women saying, I'm taking dance classes too now and I feel so good. Or if it's from a heavy topic like this, I would just hope that people walked away feeling even more free and inspired to express themselves. And in that expression, they feel powerful and courageous and bold. So it's not even about what I want people to know about me, it's the experience I want people to have when engaging with me or anything that I put out into the world. And that keeps me in check, too, having that, because when I have my days where I'm being overtly judgmental or mean or short-tempered, like, how is that helping empower someone, Sheena? Oh. Does Sexual Assault Awareness Month hold any significance for you, or Child Abuse Prevention Month? If so, and you're willing to share why, I'd love to hear. Maybe you have gone through this, or maybe you know someone who has, or maybe you know nothing about it. I would just like to hear from you and your thoughts. Express yourself. Have a great day.